Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Memo and I mainly draw things for a living. The Artist Starter Plan is a calendar I created to help you start learning how to draw if you're a complete beginner or get back into drawing if you haven't done it for a while. The plan goes from drawing simple lines and shapes in the first week, moving on to portrait, gesture, clothing, and full characters by the end of the 31 days. I recorded this as a series of live streams on Instagram, so unfortunately the format is portrait and there's some level of chit-chat throughout the videos. I hope you can still enjoy it, download the calendar for free, and start your own practice. It doesn't need to be the first day of the month to start, just pick day one and build up from there. Let's get started! Happy Sunday! I hope you're having a nice day. I am going to be doing today's Artist Starter Plan day, and today we are drawing a complete face. So in the past few days we have been drawing noses, mouths, eyes, and now we're going to be doing a whole face with facial features. I'm going to be using a Pinterest just for reference basically, but you can use any other website, you can use your own face, you know, if you have a mirror nearby. It's fine. You can also, you can also just be doing it from your imagination. But I think for the sake of the exercise, it would be better if you used a reference. So I'm going to start now by turning the camera. And as you can see, this is the reference that I'm using for my first face. I'm gonna aim to do 3 different faces, of course, just in like sketch. It's, you know, I aim to be doing a 15-20 minute session as usual. There's a question asking what iPad do you have, do you recommend it? I have the iPad Pro from, I think it's 2nd generation. I bought it in 2020. Actually, exactly before like the whole COVID thing started. I bought it because I used to have the first iPad Pro, the one that came out in 2016. But I had to change it because I got a really big commission. There was a coloring book for Disney parks, so it was a coloring book where I would color, like do a page for each ride in you know, from the Disneyland park in Florida, I think, or the one in Los Angeles, I can't remember. But basically it was gonna be a huge commission. It was because it was like 96 pages and I had to do it all from my iPad because that was what I was working with when I was at home. And so, yeah, so my first iPad, the one from 2016, had started basically like overheat a lot when I used Procreate for several hours, and of course I was gonna be using it for several hours, so I decided to trade up, and I'm very happy with it. Like, I had my first iPad for 4 years, and then it started kind of like playing up with the battery, and instead this one I've had it now for 4 years, which is incredible. Like, I didn't think about it before, but it's odd, and it's still perfectly fine in terms of battery and, you know, performance. I'm very happy with it. So yeah, I would recommend it. Of course, iPads are expensive, like all Apple products, and so, you know, I got my iPad when I was sure that I wanted to pursue drawing as a, you know, as an actual career. So I would recommend that maybe you, I don't know, if you just do this as a hobby. I mean, if you have the money, of course, just go for it. Like, I mean, who am I to tell you not to buy it? But if you are wondering, like, if it's worth it from like a money perspective, I would say it's maybe best to get something like a little bit cheaper. I know people who have, and they're like professional that also work in you know, gaming or animation, and they have like things that are slightly cheaper, and they work, you know, just as well. I mean, maybe not just as well, because I do think that the iPad the way that the pencil works, it's probably not comparable to other products, but but you know, it's still fine. You know, they're good products, especially if you use them from you know, as an amateur. Do you use Photoshop also? I don't use Photoshop on my iPad. No, I use Photoshop on my computer, which is what you see sometimes open when I start live. On my computer, which is an iMac. No, it's not an iMac. Sorry, it's a Mac Studio, like a Mac Mini. I don't know. Like, it's the little square, like cube thing. And then I have a Cintiq 22 HD hooked up to it, and I use that with Photoshop. I like to have Photoshop even if just on my computer, because I feel like it's a more sturdy software, especially when I have to like comp together bigger illustrations, or to do a little bit of graphic design. So sometimes I have to do. So yeah, I feel like Photoshop is a bit more of a complete program for an artist, but for, you know, to draw on the iPad, I definitely recommend Procreate on an iPad. There you go. Okay, so this is our first phase. If you have followed the past few sessions, you probably don't need me to guide you through this, like how I did it. I drew with you the same art, the same reference, you mean? If you do, post it, and I will share your work. I'm really curious to see it. So this is phase number 1. And as you can see, like, I kind of put together all the things that we did, you know, in the past. So I'm gonna maybe talk through the next phase. I'm just gonna look up a new reference. I don't know the reference, the drawing. Oh, okay, so like you drew the same drawing that I was drawing. Nice. And yeah, do post it if you want to. So I'm just looking up a different reference for the face. Okay, this one is interesting. So I looked up a reference. Hello. And I'm going to start, you know, with the same sort of method that I used before. So I always start with the circle, and thank you. You too. Have a great day. The circle, the front, like the middle parting, the horizontal parting. This is a reference with a girl smiling, and she has bangs and a very nice smile, quite a big mouth. So how are you doing? I'm good. I'm doing well. I'm excited because I am about to go on a little holiday with my partner. We haven't been together alone for a long time, because obviously when you have a baby, you don't spend much time alone with your partner anymore. And so we are very excited because we decided to basically like take some days off and go, you know, for a little like weekend break, although it's in the middle of the week. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, of course you can see the reference. Hang on, I'm gonna just move my camera slightly. It's here, and there you go. That's the reference. My favorite artist, that's an interesting question. I don't know if I have one, like a complete favorite artist, because I have like a few people that I really enjoy their art, and that they're kind of, there you go, sorry. Thank you. I hope it's gonna be nice, and also I really hope, I mean, we wouldn't leave if our daughter was still a little bit sick, as she had been in the past week, but she is much better, and so we are going to go and try it. Of course, we are gonna come back if she's better. If she's, but yeah, basically, I have a few different artists that I really enjoy their arts for different reasons. So like, for example, I really like Loish because of her whole aesthetic. Like I really enjoy looking at her art. I think she's probably one of the real kind of artists of our time, like because she has, I don't know if you know her, you probably do because she's huge, because she has, I don't know, she has like such a specific aesthetic, and like when you see one of her pieces, you know that it's Loish, you know, like you don't, hi, greetings to Indonesia. You can't, you know, like mistake her art for somebody else's. She has a very specific style, and she has been developing that style for many years. And so I really respect her and enjoy her art, even though like her drawing and especially her coloring techniques are very different from mine, and I don't necessarily feel like because a lot of the artists that I enjoy, I also kind of want to learn from them instead from Loish. Like I don't feel like I would be suited for her coloring style because it's very, I don't know how to say it. It's very like kind of go with the flow. I feel like she's I have to have lines, you know, like I feel very lost if I don't have lines in my drawings. So the kind of painterly way that she does her coloring, for me it makes me anxious. Basically it's like my OCD kicking in. Anyway, so yeah, this is drawing number 2. I'm going to quickly erase a little bit these central lines so that it's a little bit more clear what's going on in her face. And yeah, you can either like erase the central lines when you're done with the sketch, or, you know, normally I would just put down the opacity of the sketch and just, you know, kind of redo and clean up the sketch by using a different layer. But yeah, there you go. Okay, so this is face number 2. And let's go for another one. Her art is so beautiful. Mine are It's Lopez, Kalisami, Aluhard, Emma. I love manga style and they inspire me a lot. Nice. And someone else also saying I like Loish style so much. Yeah, I really like It's Lopez as well. I like the fact that I'm not like a a huge manga fan. Like I have a few anime that I especially watch, but mostly I don't really like the complete kind of manga style, if you know what I mean. Like it's if it's too manga, I don't like it that much, but I really like It's Lopez because I feel like she has a really good middle way of mixing manga with a more European Disney-esque sort of style, which I find really cute. So yeah, I really like her. I am still trying to find my art style. Any advice? I feel like everybody is still trying to find their style. Like, I don't think anybody, even people like Loish and It's Lopez, you know, like have a style that they go like, yep, that's it, never gonna change it. Something, oh, sorry, I'm gonna show you the, sorry, just a second, I'm gonna change the camera for a second, and there you go. This is the reference that I am looking at. So yeah, I feel like everybody struggles to find their own style, and again, it's very much a work in progress for every artist, you know. And yeah, I feel like it is a cycle, you know, like where you will work a lot trying to find a style, and then when you find it, some people are happy to stay with the style for a long time, some people you know, a shorter time, but I feel everybody will arrive to a point when they go like, okay, I want to evolve again. So, you know, like that's, you know, what's going to happen. So I feel like everybody has, you know, cycles that they go through where they will find the style that they like, and then they will decide that, you know, they have to change it again. And especially if you look at, like, it's really useful to go back to the advice. If you're trying to find your style, I feel like it's really, really useful to first draw as much as possible, like not copying like from fan art, but actually creating your own characters and like trying to push a little bit more your shapes, trying to push, you know, what you like, and be very analytical with your own drawings and look at, you know, your own drawings, decide what you like about your drawings, what works about your drawings, and also what makes you happy to draw, you know, like, because for example, I'm constantly thinking that I should be doing, you know, more I should, you know, change the way that I do coloring and maybe become a little bit more painterly, because it's something that I admire in other people. But then I am really impatient and I do not like to stay there and just paint for a million years. So that would just not work for me, you know? So yeah, just try and be analytical and maybe keep a journal, or, you know, have sessions where you just look through your art from like the past few months and analyze what works, what doesn't, what makes you happy. I'm trying to my best, but I am in college, so I don't have really much time, but I like to draw or see. I don't copy, I can get inspired. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like copying is bad, because to be honest, copying is also really good, and it is the way that you learn, as well as, you know, working on anatomy and all the other stuff. But at the same time, I feel like if, like, for example, I am kind of guilty of this because I do enjoy reading and, you know, watching TV series, and I do get inspired by those things a lot. And so I end up maybe drawing a little bit too much fan art in my free time, because, you know, it's my free time and I just want to chill and relax, and I don't want to think. I just want to do something that is a little mindless and brings me joy. But at the same time, I know like that is something that personally has hindered me a little bit in the past, because I was drawing so much fan art just to relax, that I wasn't really trying to figure out what I liked to draw, basically, on my own, basically. Also someone asking, hey Memo, so you think, is it okay to draw in different styles instead of stacking on one? I think it's totally fine. I am super guilty of that. Like, I really don't have like a specific style. I feel like if you go through my page here on Instagram, you'll see that there's a lot of different things on it. And sometimes it almost doesn't look like it's the same person drawing it, although I think there would be some things that are, you know, the same. The way that I draw certain things will make it obvious that it is the same person, but it is hard because sometimes you look at other artists who, also this is slice number 4. No, yeah, number 3. Okay, let's do one more because people are asking a lot of questions and it's really fun. I'm gonna do one from the side because I read earlier on someone in the comments saying that they struggle drawing people from the side, like faces on the side. So I'm going to do that. What is your job? Do you think becoming an illustrator is profitable and worth considering? This is like not a trick question, but like it's hard to answer because it really depends what, like first it depends because not all illustrators do the same thing. Like my job personally is to be an illustrator. So I work specifically in children's books. And so yeah, I'm doing it from the side, sorry, just walking through what I'm doing. I am building the same, you know, circle and then the middle part in where I will place the ear, and then I just create these kind of rhomboid coming down from the face, which is where I will place the nose. Sorry about the cough. I also am not like super well, to be honest. But yeah, so my job as an illustrator, and I will show you just real quick the reference is this one. There you go. My job as an illustrator is very different from what like an editorial illustrator would be, for example, where, you know, like you see artists who work for magazines, you know, and like they have that very specific editorial style with like more minimalistic, and they usually use different softwares from Procreate, like for example Illustrator or other what's it called, vectorial softwares. Instead, I use mostly Photoshop and Illustrator to work, because the way that I work is that I create illustrations for children's books, mostly children's books, and like young adult, tweens, like books, stuff like that. So of course it means that, like, you know, like my style is much more kind of like cartoony, and that means that I can work in a specific area, you know, like of the industry, whilst other people who have like a more minimalistic, more graphic designy sort of style, they have different avenues, you know, like they work for magazines, or they do more adult work, like where they can get they can become like more minimalistic, and it's okay. Anyway, long story short, this is to say that it really depends in the which avenue do you work with, and it is a very competitive market, especially because it's not regulated on an international level, right? So you're up against, I mean, and it's not against, because of course we are all in this together and we should also support each other, but the truth is that, you know, like your job could be done by anybody in the world, and so it's very competitive. And also, you know, if you live in a country that is cheaper to live in and you can afford to be paid less than other people who work in countries that are more expensive to live in, so they need to have higher fees, and that means that, of course, if they have higher fees, they might be less employable, because people are going to be like, well, why should I pay you more, right? So this is all to say that it can be a good profession, like any freelance profession. It's I'm gonna clean these up a little bit because it's really dirty. So yeah, it can be a good profession, and it can be profitable, but you do have to consider that it's gonna be unpredictable, and you might, you know, work for some time and then all of a sudden, you know, you get some months where you don't have any gigs, and so you get really frustrated, and you might get a little bit like anxious. So if you're an anxious person, do not become a freelance illustrator. But you can also, you know, instead of being a freelance illustrator, you could go work for you know, a studio, especially if you are more like into viz dev instead of illustration. You could work for an animation studio, video game studio. All these studios have had a little bit of a hit this year in terms of economy, like the whole economy of like video games and animation shrunk. So all of my friends who actually work in studios, they're all considering like moving on to other studios, because their studios are all kind of like in financial trouble. So yeah, but that can be true for any, you know, any job. Like job security is a thing of the past, right? I mean, we live in a deeply unsettling, deeply flexible time, and so the reason why I decided to fuck it and become an illustrator, even though this is not the degree that I study for, and I am self-employed, and I am self-taught and self-employed, is that I thought, well, if I had not gonna know if my job is gonna be stable anyway, I might as well do the thing that I like and that I want to do. So that's my advice. Like at the end of the day, if all the choices are unstable choices, then you might as well choose the one that makes you happier. But do not quote me on it, and do not base your life choices on what I said. Anyway, I'm gonna go forward. Copying isn't bad. I mean, I don't trace. I can draw scene from movie, like, it's good, but tracing isn't a good option for posting, and we must ask the person who we are tracing from. That is very true. You should always you should always ask permission if you if you do trace something, but my advice would be not to trace at all, because tracing does not help you become a better artist. It's a crutch, and people who actually know how to draw will look at your drawing and will understand immediately that you traced it. And also, again, it doesn't work. It doesn't help you become better. Copying does. Like, copying can help you, even discover your own style in a way. But tracing doesn't help anything, because you're not actually figuring out the volumes of the things that you're drawing by yourself. You're just, mindlessly copying something else. How am I feeling? I'm feeling okay. I mean, I have a bit of a cough, but this is also because I'm talking a lot, and so my breath is kind of like itching in my throat. But I'm feeling kind of okay. I mean, I still have like a little bit of a dizzying spell sometimes when I stand up, like the other day, but it's getting better. Thank you. Did I try Upwork or Fiverr? I have been trying to get my first commission on these websites, but I couldn't. I tried watching tons of videos, but they are useless. I do not use Upwork and Fiverr. I do not recommend using them, because I feel like Upwork and Fiverr encourage this culture where people think it's okay and appropriate to pay artists incredibly little money to do something. So no, I do not recommend it. This is phase number 4, and I think that's the last phase I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna quickly go through these ones. So yeah, I mean, this was fun. Phase number 1, phase number 2, phase number 3, and phase number 4. So yeah, I mean, as I was saying, I'm just gonna turn my camera again. Okay. Sorry. I do not. Sorry, my connection keeps being bad, which is annoying. Anyway, here I am. So I do not recommend using Upwork or Fiverr. Like, I have tried Upwork once, and I think Fiverr as well, at least once, but a few years ago, and I realized that it's basically a bid to the lowest bidder, right? So you have to provide a lot of work and even free samples sometimes, and people are still going to pay you very little, right, for your services, because if someone else is offering something for a cheaper price, they will go for that one, right? So it encourages sloppy work. It encourages people who are not serious about this job, but they're just doing it like as a hobby, getting commissions instead of artists whose job is actually doing this. And even as a person who's starting out and is saying, well, but I don't have any clients, so I might as well try these services, I still don't think it's a good way to start, because you're gonna end up working a lot with people who are not professional, because usually people who go to Upwork and Fiverr are like normal people who are commissioning something maybe for their pet project, and so they're not professional. So you're gonna have unprofessional relationships where they're gonna ask you to do shitloads of work for very little money, and you are worth more than that, because even just studying and doing art for yourself and creating a good portfolio that you can then submit to agencies is more valuable and more worth your time than getting paid €2 an hour to do a logo for someone who's gonna make you do it again like a million times. This is my opinion. I use Clip Studio Paint. I don't really use Clip Studio Paint. I tried it. I wanted to become better at using it, but I just stopped because as many things in my life, I try and do them, I start, but then life happens, and so I end up having to stop the thing and go back to the way that I usually do the thing, which is faster because I'm used to it. I can feel the childish kind of soul coming from a sketch is nice. Do you think you can do all illustration for children books on Procreate and not needing a Wacom? Yeah, I think so, definitely. It's totally fine. But your creative artwork can stand with you through the competition, it's true. Yeah, it's not an easy journey. I get frustrated and anxious a lot, but I love being a digital artist, so I will continue. Person, like I am quite anxious, but like I'm not saying that if you're an anxious person at all. I feel like if you are an anxious person, it's just better to have a steady job, like a full-time job with a studio. So how to reach these studios? Hang on, there's too many questions. Where can I put my illustrations from this live for me to see it? Just post it on your profile and tag me, maybe in your stories as well. Either tag my name or use the hashtag, sorry, I will remember my own hashtag, Artist Starter Plan. Thank you. Hope you can be friends. By the way, I'm talking to you. Oh, that's nice. Do you launch lives on AG every day? I do. If you go on my website, on my page, and you go on the Reel side, you'll see there's a series, and it's all the days that I've done this year so far. This is the 14th, and I will keep doing it for the whole month of January, because it's part of this calendar that I've created. It's called the Artist Starter Plan, and if you go on my website, you can find the link in my bio. You can register for the calendar, and you can download the calendar and download all the tools. And yeah, just okay, the live went out when you answered my question. Where can I find these studios? Yes. So there are different types of studios, of course. So you can either try and work for a animation studio, for example, animation like, you know, animation cartoons and TV series or movies. If you're more into visual development, so creating characters, character design, or you know, background art, stuff like that, and in that case you will need a visual development portfolio, which is a little bit different from an illustrator portfolio. An illustrator is more someone who works in books or games like tabletop games, board games, stuff like that, and you actually illustrate a product, right? Instead, if you work in visual development, you will have to create a lot of concept art and character design and visual development for a product that is not the product that you actually create, right? So, for example, as an illustrator, a freelance illustrator, I have worked on a few products. For example, a couple of years ago, I did a Raya and the Last Dragon activity book. So I did not work on the movie Raya and the Last Dragon, but then Disney paid me to create a book that was an activity book. So you basically had different illustrations of Raya, is there again, and the situations of the movie, and you had to find several. It was like a game book for kids. So that's what an illustrator would do, right? So create different projects that are usually books. Either that, or if you like, you could also try and find a job in a studio that develops video games, especially especially if you work for a studio that does a lot of 2D video games, then you might also do some assets for the actual game. These studios are everywhere. Like, you can basically find, just go on the internet and look up all the studios that you like the most, and see if they have any openings, or see if they have a way that you can send their portfolio. Also, the other way, the way that I got contacted by Disney is that I am represented by an illustration agency. So if you are an if you are an illustrator, you work freelance, so you're not hired by full-time by a studio, but my illustration agency is called Advocate Art. If you go on my profile, on my bio there's written like wrapped by Advocate Art, and that's a profile that you can go and check out. They are one of the many illustration agencies that exist in the world, and like, you know, like an actor who will have a talent agent, or a writer has a literary agent. This connection is true. If you are an illustrator, you can get wrapped by an illustration agency, which will help you to see if you go closer to my Wi-Fi, will it get better? If you're wrapped by an illustration agency, you will have an agent, and they will be in contact with many different publishing houses. Those publishing houses will get licensing from Disney, from many other big studios, and they will, they will set out calls for someone to do those books, and you will probably be required to do a sample, which sometimes is paid, sometimes is free, but if you do the sample well, you get the job. So this is how I got the jobs with Disney. I worked with Lucky Charms. Yes, the cereal thing. I created a book for Lucky Charms. It's this one. I'm gonna go and get it. Okay. Okay, sorry, a second. It's really annoying, I know. Okay. There you go. I did this book for Lucky Charms 2 years ago, and they also contacted me through my agent. I recently did this book, and it's actually a really lovely book. Where basically they're all kind of sketches of all the Disney classics, and it comes with actual pencils, so the kids can take the pencils and color all the sketches. It was a really fun job. So yeah, basically the way that I got signed by this agency is that I sent a lot of emails. So I looked up all the illustration agencies that I thought would be a good fit for me and my style. So if you Google illustration agency international, or maybe country where you live in, like Advocate Art is an international illustration agency, so they work both from England, but they have agents in the Asian market, in the American market, in the European market. So even if I live in Italy, I'm read by them. And I sent out something like 90 emails, I think, in 2017, and I sent my portfolio, and I got 5. Thank you for the compliment. But yeah, I got 5 replies from these agencies, over 90. So yeah, ready for rejection. Of these 5, we talked and proceeded with 2 to talk about a contract, and I preferred the contract from Advocate, mostly because they had way more offices around the world, and I thought that would be better in terms of reach that I could have for potential jobs, and I was right, because I think the other agency wasn't as good. And so I've been with them so far. Some years are leaner, sometimes I get bigger jobs, sometimes I get smaller jobs, but the smaller jobs are cute and fun. My ratio for getting a job or not, because you can always say no, you get a question like, do you want to do this job from an agency or from a publisher? You can still say no. But my rationale is, if a job is renowned, so like from a big studio like Disney or other big studios, then of course I will say yes, even if it's not super well paid. If a job is not that well paid but it's fun and I get to do what I want, for example, I get to do my own art direction, which means that I can choose the style, I can choose the layout of the book, then I will still say yes, because it's good fun for me. So it's not just getting paid a lot of money. Of course that is good, because we still need to pay bills, but it's also other things that you want to consider. Anyway, sorry, I missed the question, which was agency hire you somehow. Yeah, how does it work? As I said, you basically just need to email them your portfolio. Someone asked what did I have on my portfolio at the time. So my portfolio was really bad, I think. I mean, if I look back at it now, it looks very amateur, like hobbyist. If you scroll down a lot on my profile from 2017, you'll see the style that I used to have. In my portfolio, I had basically, like, at the time, I used to draw for Instagram purposes, like posting stuff every single day. And that is how I think got better, basically. Like, I used Instagram to keep me motivated. So I started in May 2017 for Mermaid, and I did the challenge every day, and I kept going every day. I would draw something, post something. This made me a lot faster, and developed my style quickly, because every day I would be drawing. And I used to have another job at the time. I used to be an English teacher, so that helped me because I would have quite a lot of time for free, like time when I was not teaching, that I would just put into drawing. And that was my life. Like, literally, my brother is always like to say that you would not see me without my iPad, like, and it's true. I used to draw like 18 hours a day, I think. And that really helped me. Also, I remember, like, what things I should say no to if I saw a contract. In the contract, of course, there's going to be things like these agencies, they will obviously keep a cut of the money that you get paid from publishers to do book, obviously, because otherwise can they get paid. Basically the amount of money that they're keeping, that is, you have to decide if that's fine to you or not. I think between 27 and 35% standard. So I think if someone is saying, like, oh, we're gonna keep 50% of your money, that's too high. That's, say no. That's weird, a bit. Also, it should, like, contract, you should have things like this company that, agency that is helping you, should give you assurances that, for example, I'm sorry, that was my partner. We need to get ready. So, guys, I really need to go now. If you want to do more of these, like, art, kind of like insider questions, like question and answers, let's do it. Maybe not today, because we really have to get ready to go grab a plane tomorrow. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow from Budapest. Probably not the time to do a long conversation. Maybe let's do that next Friday when I'm back, but I will be doing the lives as much as possible, even when I'm on holiday. Just be back to me if you have more questions. I don't know if I can answer all of you, but maybe I will do on my story like a more in-depth questions or something like that. So yeah, bye guys, have a nice rest of your day.